going to Christian schools for a few years and even a Christian college for a couple years. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I was squeaky clean. I thought that I was supposed to tell the truth, do the right thing, avoid hurting others. I thought that others were the same. How wrong was I? I thought God was taking care of me, but after years of being a good girl, I was smacked in the head by a sociopath. One of the worst parts of it was watching normal people so easily believe the sociopath's lies, even when I had proof he was lying. After a while, his ability to charm people was so strong that I started wondering if he had some kind of demonic assistance. It was like magic. People would fall for his lies and ignore the truth. It was like they were hypnotized. Is this the demonic possession I read about in the Bible? Is this Satan at work? Working through the narco path to do pure evil and get away with it? I turned to faith even more. I turned to Christians for support and help understanding the situation and the evil that was attacking my life and my reputation. But I mostly found hatred. Most of the Christians who knew both the abuser and me took his side. They thought he was the victim of my talking about the abuse, and they thought I was a horrible person for saying what happened. That began to destroy my faith. Aren't Christians supposed to help the hurting? Supposed to stand for good against evil? Supposed to shun evil? Why were so many of them supporting evil, overlooking it, cavorting with it, laughing about it, and attacking me, the innocent party who was struggling? My final straw came when a pastor joined in. He made hateful comments to me, and when the abuser started mocking me as a perpetual victim, the pastor agreed and made public posts on Facebook about how great the abuser was and how I was making things up. One day, I was having an especially rough day with an emergency at my home, and I couldn't find anyone to help me. The pastor made more nasty comments to me. That was the day I realized I could no longer be associated with Christians. I have felt that way for nearly 2 years now. I don't want to be a part of a religion that supports domestic violence and attacks the hurting. Through this time, several of my rare but real Christian friends have encouraged me not to drop Christianity because of some nasty wolves in sheep's clothing, but so much damage has been done. I still believe in God, but not the hypocrites who pretend to be Christians, and especially not bullying pastors who wink at abuse while despising the victims. Recently, I had a realization about this situation. Perhaps instead of turning away from Christianity, I should want to fight harder. Sociopathy is the purest evil we can face. Is dealing with the sociopath the ultimate war of good versus evil? Truth versus lies? Is it spiritual warfare? I try to be a good person, and for me that includes hating evil, being honest, and speaking against abuse. What that pastor did to me was nothing that a true man of God would do. He was doing the work of Satan, destroying Christianity from within by abusing religion to hurt others and give real Christians a bad name. His actions are wicked, and sociopaths are common in the church. Instead of letting one nasty person turn me against Christianity, maybe I should be inspired to fight evil that hides in the church, with the truth and a desire to help the hurting rather than hurting them more. Shame on people who hide in churches and hurt others. Don't abuse our faith with your evil ways. Take the Fight Against Domestic Violence charity challenge and shop for related products such as Spiritual Warfare, Christians Demonization and Deliverance, Spiritual Warfare, Christians Demonization and Deliverance. I said that again. Real Christian, Bearing the Marks of the Authentic Faith, Win Spiritual Warfare, Your Destiny, The Secret, Manual for Spiritual Warfare, and that's it. Wow, what a wonderful story. Yeah, so my heart goes out to this person that they realized that they were dealing with the evil situation, a demonic situation. Um Evil is evil, demonic is demonic. A lot of people try to put emphasis on what's demonic. It's not too this, it's not too bad. But that's the biggest trick that we've encountered over the years since the beginning of time. The biggest trick is that we don't have an enemy. An enemy doesn't exist. You're your worst enemy, blah, 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 blah. But everybody's not fighting or abusing themselves. They just don't have an inkling or know what to do and how to get out of it. I remember when I first discovered narcissism, I didn't know that almost everybody in my life was a narcissist until I was thrumming through YouTube one day and ran across the word. And I'm like, I've never seen this word before. I've heard it, but it kind of went one ear and out the other. So I wasn't able to articulate what it means. And at the time, I wasn't interested in finding it. I was really looking for selfishness and why certain people are so selfish and they got these little funny ways and, you know, they're all about themselves. And one of the things that the Bible says clearly, and it is prophecy and it's very true, that people will become lovers of themselves. It's a lot of I, and teams. It's a lot of me, and woe is what about me in this world. But I believe from experience that when you take the focus off yourself and start helping people and start being a service to others, your problems don't be so that bad because you're going to meet somebody in a situation that's worse than you. So never take that lightly. Looking at this, narcissism is something you can't see. So we already know that spiritual is spiritual because for one, people don't know about it. For two, people are getting abused by it and think it's just domestic. And they don't know enough about personality, temperaments, traits, and there's also ways to get out of it. Some society teaches us that if you're in certain situations, it is what it is and there's nothing you can do about it. There's something you can do about something in everything. It's just, are you willing to take the initiative to find out what it is that's attacking you? Find out what you can do about it. Find out what it means. Study, research as much as you can. I don't know absolutely everything about narcissism, but I know it's a personality disorder. And if you don't know what personalities is, inbox me for the book titled Personality Plus by Florence Latour. It's a book that teaches you how, what personality traits are. Everybody has these 4 temperaments and how to interact with people while understanding yourself. That's basically what that's about. That'll give you a leeway to find out how these personality disorders happen. It works on the strengths and weaknesses of the personalities so that you won't be caught up in these types of situations. And I was going through narcissism when I was reading that book and didn't even notice it. So I'm glad I took the initiative to step out the box, even though I wasn't looking for it. And God had to be with me because I swear I was not looking for what is a narc, and then to find out it's in every area of your life, from your job to your career to your entrepreneurship. It's in leadership. It's in everything. It's like an epidemic. It's like cancer. It can just get into anything and destroy everything. So I thought this was a very informative article. It's a personal testimony on how somebody, really, got through it or whatever, and they're able to write a book about it without feeling guilty. So, I thought that was a good one, to read about. So, if you're curious to see where I got that information from, you can just go to The Faces of Narcissism at facesofnarcissism.com, and those books that I just said. I know those books I mentioned before. Personality Plus is on Amazon. Let's see. Yeah, and don't forget to take the fight against domestic violence charity challenge. So it looks like, you could just shop right on this article and, get the books that suit your needs for this particular thing here. Got a few stories that I was looking up. Okay, just gotta come up out of here because it's not doing it right. I will talk to you guys later. I'm on live right now. I don't have time for all that checking up on me. I wish everybody was checking up on me when I was broke. That's when I needed to check up on me. But anyway, I gotta go back to that. Okay, spirit of narcissism, overcoming 10 scriptures. What was it? Spiritual warfare. Conflict. I think I'm gonna go to this 10 scriptures on spiritual warfare here. Moving along just fine. It says from newspring.cc/articles called New Spring Church. Just under the surface of our everyday interactions, hiding in the shadows, clouded in mystery and confusion, Satan is real. Angels, demons, spiritual warfare, they all exist, but we don't have to live in fear. We can rely on Jesus to fight our enemies, weapons of temptation, and accusation. We can have victory. Here are 10 scriptures to read and memorize that will equip you for the battle ahead. Ephesians 6:10 through 11. 2 Thessalonians 3:3. 2 Corinthians 10:4 through 5. 2 Peter 5:8 through 9. James 4:7. Romans 8:37 through 39. John 10:10. Colossians 1:13 through 14, John 16:33, and finally number 10 is 1 Corinthians 10:13. So, as we look at trying to determine how this fits in the Bible, in Christianity, it's happening in our churches. Nobody's saying nothing. Everybody like, oh, well, that's his or her life. We're going to look in the Bible and see how many lives were affected by this narcissistic spiritual warfare. We can start with Goliath. Goliath was a narcissist because he boasted against Israel. And it took a little kid to change all of that. Jezebel was envious of Elijah. Delilah brought Samson down with her cunning and beauty and used him as a victim. King Herod was jealous of the Messiah and killed all the babies who might replace him as king. Sadducees was jealous and thought they were the law. King Saul was jealous of David. Lucifer is the master narcissist and could not have even God over him. So I did some research. I got me a Bible and I did some research, and this is what I came up with. Let's see if I got anything floating down here. From the Old Testament to the New Testament, I have seen stories in this Bible, and I had no idea because the churches that I went to did not teach this. That's why you must get to know God for yourself, because the only way you're going to know about God is if you get off your tail and get in the Word and know on your own. Nobody's going to teach you anything. I'm just saying. So the first thing I came across was Delilah's strength that builds or destroys. Do you know that Delilah's spirit is still walking around here? I've met men and women that have went down because of the Delilah spirit. And it reads, the story of Samson and Delilah often generates more feedback about the weakness of Samson. Many questions arise regarding how Samson could be so clueless about Delilah's agenda to assist the Philistines in his demise, because he didn't recognize, like I just said, that he let her beauty and her charm trick him. But the story of Samson and Delilah